Well, let's see. If I remember, home plate was just about here, wasn't it?
Yeah, just about.
And the foul pole went all the way down to that wild screen. Remember that?
Wally Moon loved that one, boy, I'll tell you for sure.
And the booth was right up there above the tunnel where we did all
the
this stuff.
memories there. Wasn't that something?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with Jerry Doggett, here at the Los Angeles Coliseum, soon to become the hub of the 1984 Olympic Games. And we were just reminiscing about those early Dodger baseball games that were played here when the Dodgers first came to Los Angeles way back in 1958.
Vinny, you know, it's tough to believe that 25 years have gone by since then.
Jerry,
can't believe it.
I can't either. You know, you're right. And they've left us with a lot of wonderful memories, too.
And some great records were broken right here in this ballpark, a lot of them.
And you know the fans, when you think about it, those wonderful fans who've made that span of time, well, a 25-year love affair with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Boy, a lot of memories here, a lot of memories.
Oh, you can almost hear it, can't you? And you know, Jerry, let's share some of those memories of 25 silver anniversary years with our great fans.
I think they'd like it.
I do, too. So why not pull up a chair and spend some time with us, and we'll begin right here in the Coliseum, where it all began. But first, as indeed there must always be, a brief commercial message.
You know, Vinny, when you think about the Coliseum, I guess the first thing you think about is that left field screen, that short fence out there, and despite of that, there weren't too many home runs hit in this ballpark.
You know, when you say the screen, I think of two things. First of all, do you remember the night Willie Mays hit the fly ball that got caught up in the wire and the girders?
They didn't know how to call it.
Yeah, and Dusty Babb just fell down, the umpire third.
Didn't see it.
And they wound up, I think, putting him on second base.
Something happened,
Yeah, it was just crazy. But you know, in 1959, the Dodgers had acquired a left-hand hitter from the St. Louis Cardinals, who found out by just snapping his wrist, he could slice a ball right down the line and over the screen.
I visited the Coliseum as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals in 1958, the Dodgers' first year here. Suddenly in 1959, I have to play here, and watching Duke Snider and a few of those guys take a shot to right field and center field. Then I looked around and I saw that inviting Chinese wall and began to go to work on it.
Wally Moon played a key role in the Dodger fortunes of 1959, and so did the fans. On May 7th, the largest crowd in baseball history, 93,000, lit matches in a darkened Coliseum to pay tribute to former Dodger star and Hall of Fame catcher Roy Campanella. With great fan support and some clutch performances on the field, the 1959 Dodgers won their division and faced the Chicago White Sox for the World Championship. Relief pitcher Larry Sherry, number 51, was the series hero with 2 wins and 2 saves. Now only Aparicio stands between the Dodgers and victory. Little Louie flies out to Wally Moon. The Dodgers win 9-3 and bring Los Angeles its first baseball world championship.
California, here I come, right back where I started from. Speaking for all of the very happy Dodgers, from the top executives to the bat boy, thanking you so much for a wonderful year.
And in June of 1958, Dodger President Walter O'Malley obtained 315 acres of land in the Chavez Ravine area of Los Angeles and quickly began construction of the second privately owned baseball stadium in the United States. Dodger Stadium opened April 10th, 1962. That day had a festive quality as celebrities turned heads in the crowd, and Kay O'Malley threw out the first ball. Of course, the Dodgers lost their opener to the Cincinnati Reds and finished the season 1 game behind their arch rivals, the San Francisco Giants. The '62 season was tarnished, but several young Dodger stars had arrived and became the nucleus of a new winning tradition. Sandy Koufax, after 6 years of mediocrity, transformed into the most terrorizing left-hander in baseball. Don Drysdale had his best season to date with a record of 25-9, and Maury Wills burned up the base paths.
And Walter Austin, in July of 1960, put me in the leadoff spot and said, Maury Wills, you're on your own. You don't have to wait for a steal sign anymore.
In 1962, Maury Wills stole 104 bases, eclipsing Ty Cobb's long-standing record of 96. He also batted .299 and was named the National League's most valuable player. Wills' offensive threat was backed up by an awesome pitching staff. At 6 feet 6 inches, Don Drysdale would come right at you. His right-handed power consistently felled opposing lumber. And then there was Sandy Koufax.
After the 1960 season, I left the clubhouse and threw everything that I had in the garbage can, you know, and I'd walked out of the clubhouse, and as far as I was concerned, that's the last time I was going to come back into the Dodger clubhouse unless I came back to visit some of the guys 2-3 years later. And surprisingly enough, I did go to spring training, and that was my first good year after that. And Noby, the clubhouse man, you know, came up to me smiling, and, you know, gave me my shoes, my glove, and all of, you know, players' personal equipment, and with a smile on his face, he says, "I saved him." He says, "I thought you might want him next spring."
And indeed, he would need them again in the 1963 World Series, which matched the Los Angeles Dodgers against the New York Yankees in their first postseason competition since the Dodgers moved to the West Coast. The Yankees brought their big guns, but Sandy Koufax had the bullets. In Game 1, Sandy's assortments of fastballs and sharply breaking curves left the Yankee bat slapping at the breeze. In the first inning, he struck out Tony Kubek, Bobby Richardson, and Tom Tresh. Next, Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris bit the dust, and 9 other Yankees before the final inning. Koufax needed one more strikeout to break the series record. He fans Harry Bright, the 15th Yankee, to go down swinging. The Dodgers win Game 1, and Sandy Koufax takes his place among baseball's immortals.
Back in Brooklyn, we had played the Yankees so many times in the World Series, almost always 7-game series, and they managed to win most of them. We only beat them there once. But to do it in 4 straight and to say goodbye to the Yankees, I felt pretty good about that.
At Candlestick Park in San Francisco on a September afternoon in 1965, an incident occurred between Giant pitcher Juan Marichal and Dodger catcher John Roseboro that boiled Dodger blue blood for years to come. Marichal, angered by a tight pitch, stormed to the mound, bat in hand, seeking revenge. Roseboro stepped out to restrain the irate batter, but to no avail, as Roseboro got whacked on the head. Marichal was fined heavily and suspended for 8 days. Without Marichal in the stretch drive, the Giants finished the season second, 2 games behind the Dodgers.
The 1965 World Series pitted the Dodgers against the Minnesota Twins. This man, Sweet Lou Johnson, a perennial minor leaguer, emerged as the series star. Filling in for the injured Tommy Davis, Sweet Lou provided the enthusiasm and offensive punch that carried the Dodgers to their second World Series victory in 3 years.
In 1966, the Dodgers took on the Baltimore Orioles for World Series honors. However, the play of Dodgers center fielder Willie Davis was less than honorable. In Game 3, Davis lost this fly ball in the sun. It dropped for an error. The next batter, and another fly ball. And another error for Willie Davis. Then he throws to third. It goes wild, and Willie Davis is charged with 3 errors in 1 inning, a World Series record. The Dodgers committed 6 errors that day, lost the series in 4 straight. That World Series defeat was painful for Dodger fans, but the loss they were about to suffer was far worse. At the end of the '66 season, Sandy Koufax decided to lay his golden arm to rest.
A few minutes ago, I sent a letter to Buzzy asking him to put me on the voluntary retirement list. What I feel are physical and health reasons. I think a few too many shots, a few too many pills, and with the hope that I'm doing the right thing physically for myself. I could possibly be a year too soon, and I could possibly not be. I don't regret 1 minute of the last 12 years, but I think I would regret 1 year that was too many. It was just a great 12 years for me. The last 6 better than the first 6, though.
Without Koufax, the Dodgers struggled through the remainder of the '60s. However, Koufax's partner at arms, Don Drysdale, was still going strong. In 1968, he set the Major League record for most consecutive scoreless innings pitched at 58 2/3. Oh, Jerry, the Dodgers in Los Angeles. What a story.
Well, Vinny, that's only half the story. And we'll be back in about 60 seconds and talk about the 70s right after this commercial message.
Okay. The 1970s brought a new look to Dodger Stadium. The fans were turning out in record numbers, and Francis Friedman was leading the cheers from the right field bleachers. But on one Sunday afternoon in 1972, the crowd fell silent as the uniforms of 3 Dodger Hall of Famers, Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, and Sandy Koufax were officially retired.
Growing up in Brooklyn, I had some heroes. Being in Brooklyn, my heroes were the Brooklyn Dodgers. I just never thought that I'd ever get a chance to play with some of those men. I was a little embarrassed to have to tell them that maybe they were my heroes. I don't know if it'd make them feel better or worse. I never thought I'd get this chance to be standing here with them today. I'd like to thank Mr. O'Malley and the Dodger organization, Walter Alston, and every Dodger player I've ever been lucky enough to be on the same field with, and to thank the baseball fans of Los Angeles who made it so much fun on the road to getting here today. Thank you.
Sadly, we said goodbye to a golden era of Dodger baseball. But a new era was just beginning, spearheaded by a group of talented youngsters. And this man, Steve Garvey, former Dodger bat boy and All-American guy, led the attack.
I always wondered whether I should go up to home plate on a home run or wait for them to come back to the on-deck circle to shake their hand. That was my big decisions as a youngster.
Behind Garvey's strong hitting and flawless fielding, the Dodgers of '74 collided with the Pittsburgh Pirates for the National League pennant. Dodger catcher Steve Yeager took a major league shot from Pittsburgh's Dave Parker, but somehow managed to hold onto the ball. After clinching the pennant, Los Angeles faced Oakland in the first Interstate World Series. And who could forget this incredible throw from Joe Ferguson? Ferguson took it with the better arm. The throw! They got him! Oh, or this great pickoff play by Mike Marshall. Third time. They got him. Yes, sir. The Dodgers lost in 1974 to a powerful Oakland ball club and a young player named Reggie Jackson.
In 1976, the Dodgers said goodbye to the man that had managed the club since 1954, Walter Alston.
Congratulate you on the 200 hits.
Thanks, Skipper.
Congratulations, and get about 215 next year, okay?
Okay, we're going to miss you.
And in 1977, the Dodger helm was turned over to a new skipper, a fire-breathing third base coach named Tommy Lasorda.
There's no way he's going to get you out. He may have struck Say out, but he will not get Russell out, because I believe that you can hit this left-hander.
And it's an honor for me to be succeeding a man that already has 1 foot into the Hall of Fame.
With Tommy Lasorda preaching Dodger blue, the Los Angeles team clinched their division and played the Philadelphia Phillies for the National League pennant. And a young third baseman named Penguin showed he could hit the long ball.
The Dodgers took that pennant and with their Penguin flew to the icy climes of New York to face the Yankees and Billy Martin.
Don't you be intimidating me.
I'm not intimidating you.
Don't you be intimidating me.
I'm not intimidating you, but I'm going to tell you something. As far as I'm concerned, he went enough.
Well, that's good enough for me,
Okay.
But sometimes get some help on it, too, all right?
All right.
That's the rule.
It had been 3 years since the Dodgers had seen this man, soon to be dubbed Mr. October, the infamous Reggie Jackson. In Game 6, Jackson blasted 3 home runs to tie a record held by Babe Ruth since 1926. His final stats were impressive: 5 home runs, 8 RBIs, 10 runs scored, 9 hits, and a .450 batting average. The Dodgers lost in 1977, 4 games to 2.
Dodger hopes soared in the 1978 series when again the Dodgers faced the Yankees, and power met power in the form of 21-year-old fireballer Bobby Welch against the Dodger killer Reggie Jackson. This time, Reggie goes down on a diet of blazing fastballs. But many players find a way to win, and this certainly was true in 1978 when Reggie became the focal point in one of the most controversial plays in World Series history.
He stood right in the way.
Gotta get it. Tommy, listen, first of all, the ball's a line drive, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if the guy picks up the ball, he thinks Ruff is going to catch the ball. Now he starts heading back towards first. And Billy throws the ball to first. I mean, what do you want?
He was standing there.
Bill,
He made no attempt. He's standing right in front of the bat.
What do you want the guy to do?
He's got to get out of the ring. He's got to get out of the ring. He's got to get out of the ring.
Tommy, don't spit at me now. Where do you want him to go?
He's got to get out of the way.
As if losing to the Yankees 2 years in a row weren't enough, the Dodgers suffered a more serious loss in 1979, when beloved Dodger patriarch Walter Francis O'Malley died at the age of 75. Walter O'Malley brought the Dodgers to Los Angeles, built baseball's most beautiful stadium, and nurtured a winning tradition that has lasted throughout the decades. The stadium is empty now. The Diamond Vision screen is dark and imageless. The stands are quiet and fanless.
It's a sharp contrast, Vinny, to the screaming crowds that fill this magnificent structure during the summer months.
There has never been in the history of the Major League any team ever draw over 3 million people. We did it because we got the greatest fans in the world.
You know, great teams never underestimate the value of their 10th man.
Yeah, Vinny, the fans here were rewarded in 1981 with a World Series championship, too.
And we're going to take a look at that series and more right after this. The 1981 season marked the emergence of a new pitching sensation, a 21-year-old southpaw named Fernando Valenzuela. Fernando racked up 8 victories before baseball was put on hold by a 2-month player strike. The split season resulted in a special playoff game versus the Houston Astros.
He's walking away. He didn't know he fouled it. Scioscia might have to throw to first base. To Garvey. Dodgers win the win. We're going Montreal.
After defeating the Montreal Expos for the National League pennant, the Dodgers once again made the trek east to Yankee Stadium and quickly lost the first 2 games. But on October 24th at Dodger Stadium, the fans were given a taste of the ensuing victory when this fly ball hit by Davey Loaf struck Reggie Jackson in his Achilles heel and proved Mr. October was human after all. A tactical error was made in the 6th and deciding game when the Yankees' ace pitcher Tommy John was lifted for pinch hitter Bobby Mercer, who failed to get aboard. The Dodgers went on to win 9-2 and brought Los Angeles their first championship of the 80s.
Well, Vinny, I know last year was a great year for you, especially the induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame at Cooperstown, New York, as one of our outstanding broadcasters.
Well, it was a great honor, Jerry, and boy, what a memorable day. Why, with the millions and millions of more deserving people, would a red-haired kid with a hole in his pants and his shirt tail hanging out, playing stickball in the streets of New York, wind up in Cooperstown? Why me, indeed? I have a lot of thanks to give. I would like to thank my parents. I would like to thank my wonderful wife and children who paid the bill of loneliness and separation while I'm away. I'd like to thank Red Barber and Connie Desmond, who cared about that skinny red-headed kid 33 years ago and made sure that he would do reasonably well. I would like to thank my partners today, Jerry Doggett and Ross Porter. I would like to thank the O'Malley family, to Walter and Kay, bless them both, and to Peter and to Terry. I would like to thank the writers who have been more than generous to me over the years. I'd like to thank the Dodgers, both Brooklyn and Los Angeles, and all of the people along the way. Thank you.
Many of those ceremonies at Cooperstown were really great. That was really something.
Yeah,
Super.
it sure was. Thanks, Jerry, very much. And with all the great memories we have, you might naturally ask, what do we have to look forward to in the 80s?
Well, with young players like Cy Young Award winner Fernando Valenzuela, power-hitting third baseman Pedro Guerrero, and Rookie of the Year Steve Sax, Dodger success seems guaranteed well into the future.
And so that's what's happened in 25 years of Dodger baseball in Los Angeles. Boy, the time has really flown by. And now we can look forward to many more years of events and stories that'll be just as exciting.
Well, Vinny, I guess that's about it for now. Hey, let's do it again in another 25 years, shall we?
All right, Jerry, that's a deal. Let's see. 25, that would be 2007.
Wow, 2007.
Set your clock. You got a date. We'll see you then.